I'm on. All right. So guys, let's give this 2-3 more minutes so a few more people can get on, and we'll get started with immediate effect. All right, so let's get started. Let's keep in mind that this webinar is being recorded on my YouTube channel as well as my TikTok. So for whoever wants to join in on any of those other platforms, we're also available. But for those that are following live on the webinar, I have a presentation going on that you could easily follow up just to see what exactly we're talking about. To help us get started, in this webinar, in this live, I'm going to be talking about how to 5x your sales in the next 100 days. Who is this intended for? It's intended for business owners, especially those that own small startups and mid-sized companies that are trying to figure out, what do I need to do in order to get to the next level? What exactly do I need to do? And by the end of this, at least we'll get a true understanding of what exactly you need to do in order to scale up your sales by about 5 times where you are today within the next 100 days. Now, for those that don't know, my name is Kenneth Ntende. I'm the CEO of Monkey Pesa. Now, just a bit of a background about me. Over the past 10 years, I have exclusively been in the world of sales. Now, the beauty about my experience is I've had the chance to work across several dockets. Number one, I've had the chance to work as a sales rep. I've had the chance to work as a sales manager, meaning you're overseeing a team, and as an owner of a business. So I tend to have a bit of a more comprehensive understanding of what exactly each and every one of these departments would need. Most importantly, I've also had the chance to work not only in Africa, meaning selling things to Ugandans, Kenyans, Nigerians, South Africans, but I've also been able to sell quite a number of the products to the people in the UK, people in Ireland, people in Scotland, and a couple of these other countries in Europe and the United States. So with me, you're going to get someone that has an all-round experience, giving you the reality of what it's like not only to sell locally, but also internationally. What exactly do you need to do? It's going to be about 30 minutes, and through the context of this entire thing, you would have learned how to truly 5x your sales over the next 100 sales. Note that, like I said, yes, I'm live on TikTok and YouTube, but to follow up properly, either go to my YouTube channel, because I will be presenting what exactly is going on and where I am, or you could attend the webinar directly. You could just leave me a comment and I'll share the details with you, what exactly you need. So yes, before we forget, this webinar is sponsored by Monkey Pesa. Now, one thing we realized is about 79% of the businesses in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa specifically, still use Excel and traditional books when tracking their sales, marketing, and customer support efforts. They think that the only place you need software is in accounting. But yes, accounting needs software, but make sure that the thing which brings you money, which is the sales and marketing, also has a tool to help you do that job better. Software will just make it more or less much better than it is. You'll be able to generate nice reports. You'll be able to actually understand what is failing within my sales cycle. And what we've done as Monkey Pesa, we've decided to go ahead and provide a software that works for sales, marketing, and customer support. It's intended to help literally businesses like yours improve their sales, marketing, and customer support efforts. So if you'd like to know more about it at the end of this webinar or in any of the DMs, literally just hit me up and I'll be able to at least elaborate more on what it does. Yeah, let's dive straight in. Now, back to the point, this webinar is about how do you 5x your sales over the next 100 days. Now, in order for you to do that, step number one is you actually have to understand what's the mathematics behind 5xing. Say hypothetically right now, you're getting 20 sales. What 5x means that, yes, I'm getting 20 sales right now, but over the next 3 months, I want to have achieved a milestone of me comfortably getting 100 sales. So if you're making, so for example, 10 sales, you're looking for 50 sales within a single month. Now, in order for you to be able to achieve that, the first thing you need to do, like I said, is understand some core metrics. Metric number one is you truly have to understand how many leads do I need to acquire in order for me to get the number that I want. Just to give you a bit of context, the normal closure rate for ordinary businesses, of every 100 leads you get, especially in the world of B2B, you tend to close about anywhere between 10 and 20. A lead, look at a lead as someone who has come to you and maybe come into your DM and asked you, do you know what? Tell me more about what you do. That is a DM. That is a lead. Someone who has come through your email and said, do you know what? I was doing research on your website. This and this and this, please elaborate more. Or someone who has come in and called your premises and said, I'm interested in buying this and this and that. All of those are considered leads. So in order just to get 20 sales, on average, you need about, give or take, 100 leads that are coming in. Now, the first important metric that you need to understand is how many leads do I need in order to 5x my growth. Say hypothetically, I was making 10 sales a month, and now I want 50. In order to acquire 10 sales a month, on average, you need between 50 and 100 leads coming in. But now for you to get the 50 sales that you want, it means you're going to need about 500 leads. That's the first metric you need to understand. Second metric you need to understand is what is my rate of conversion. Say hypothetically this month I've got 200 leads. Of those 200 leads, how many leads am I being able to close on average? Meaning, say for example, I get 200 and my average closure rate is 10%, so I anticipate 20 sales. If there are some companies where they have really good sales reps, so in those scenarios, you might get 100 leads, and of those 100 leads, you're able to close 60. So get to understand what is the average rate of closure on average. Like I said, in this segment, we're just talking about what analytics you need. Why we're going through this, understanding this mathematics, is because it gives you an understanding of how much you need to work in order for your goals to be achieved. Without us understanding the extent of work or the extent of resource that we need, sometimes we'll end up lying to ourselves thinking that what we need to do is small, yet it's honestly quite a bit. So yes, that's why we're going through some of these analytics. So the third stats that you need to understand right from the beginning is how long does my sales cycle take? You will notice that there's some products, especially product companies, those ones you literally, as a person comes in, talks to you 1-2 days, you've closed. Then there are going to be other scenarios where you have a B2B business, and yes, you've acquired this lead, but it's going to take some time for you to be able to convert that lead. So get to understand on average how long is my sales cycle taking. And the fourth metric is you also need to understand the churn rate. The churn rate means after I have acquired my customers, how long are they taking to fall off? So in a nutshell, those are the 4 core metrics that you need to understand right from the beginning. Like I said, the main reason you need to understand the maths behind what you need to do is just to help you and help your brain get to understand that, you know what, for me to stand the best chance of success, for me to 5x my sales, here is how much work I need to put in, or here is how much resource I need to understand. So yes, once you have gotten your way around the maths, so next step is to, of course, begin to figure out how exactly am I going to get the leads that I need. Like I said, to get 5 times the number of amount of business, it means you need to 5x the number of leads that are coming in. Now, in this next section, we're going to just exactly talk about how do you 5x the number of leads that is coming in for your exact business. Okay, let's get started. By the way, don't forget, in case you have any questions, in case you have any queries, simply drop me a message in the chat section. If for those of you that are attending the webinar, and for those of you that are live either on TikTok or YouTube, simply drop a message. We'll have that answered and responded to as we move on. So yeah, now let's get started. In this scenario, we've put ourselves, let's say I want to move from 10 to 50 sales. And we've understood that for us to do that, we need to 5x the number of leads that are coming in. So how do you go about acquiring those leads? So truth be told, there are only two methods that I use to acquire leads sustainably. There's what they call inbound, and there's what they call outbound. So in this segment, I'm just going to take us through each and every one of these so that you understand how each of them would work hand in hand in order for you to be able to achieve the goal that you want. So step number one, inbound. Now, inbound means what set of activities am I going to do to attract the people who I'm interested in, my possible customers, to come to me. Just to reiterate that, what set of activities am I going to do to bring the people to me? Now, under that, there are two ways. There are going to be two types of things that you can do. They are going to be the free things, which are what they call organic. Then they are going to be the paid things. Let me get started with the organic things. What exactly can you do? Now, under the organic, there are quite a number of things that can be done. Number one, there are things like webinars. As an example, I'm hosting a webinar right now, and I hold another webinar every other week. And each webinar that I hold usually brings me anywhere between 30 and 50 people. So it means if I hold 1, 2, 3, 4 webinars, I'm comfortably getting 300, 200 leads. And people who are coming in and saying, you know what? I'm actually interested in what you're doing, and let me watch and pay attention to you for a full hour. So that's platform number one. It's free, it's organic. All I've done is just talk about it on my TikTok and post it on my LinkedIn, and people come to attend webinars just like they're doing right now. The beauty about this is before anyone attends any of the webinars, they fill in a form, which form has things like, what is your name? What is the company you work for? What do you do for that company? What's your email? What's your phone number? So all these details are important for me to make those phone calls. So yes, people think that for you to get 200 leads is complicated, but sometimes it literally just stems from, what should I do? Literally do something in order to be able to attract. So that is the thing number one. We personally, after testing out 40, I noticed webinars work quite effectively. The second thing is you can have content. You can post content. Literally go out to your social media sites, go out to TikTok, go out to Instagram, go out to all these platforms, create short form content. For those of you that are following me on YouTube and TikTok, you can literally go and check out some of the content that I have. As part of that content, literally tell people, do you know what? This is what I do. This is who it's for. And this is why it matters. Please reach out to me in case you need assistance. Say you sell skincare. Go out and tell people, do you know what? If you've been struggling with acne, if you've been struggling with this, go ahead, reach out to me. I can comfortably help. So the main reason sometimes people tend to struggle is because, yes, they share content, but number one, they don't hit a large enough amount of volume, meaning you're sharing once, twice a week, and you're thinking the impact is enough. But if you understand that now I need to 5x my traffic, to 5x myself, it means you're going to need to publish at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day in order to hit enough volume. Just look at it this way. Look at content, especially organic content, as you have a lake right next to you, and your job is to get stones and keep throwing. So you can't throw one small stone and think that I have made sufficient impact. You need to keep throwing and throwing and throwing and throwing. So the more people see you, the more they discover you, the more they come to you. Where businesses tend to struggle, especially organically, the average business here in Africa posts about twice a week. And now those 2 times, imagine you've posted twice and each of your videos has got 200, 300 views. It means you've got 500 impressions. 500 impressions are too few. They are too few that, truth be told, you're not going to be able to get a sufficient enough number of leads in order to get the targets that you want. And just to give you better context, as an example, personally, I post once, anywhere between 2 and 3 times a day. And that alone is generating me about 50 leads a week. But if I were posting once or twice, it means even the reach that I'm getting right now, which is organic and free, I would not have been getting it. And these people who are coming into my DM and saying, please help me with sales, please help me understand how sales works, please tell me more about your CRM software and how it can help me, would not be coming to me. So yes, stabilize and make sure that you understand what logistics do I need. Number one, what do I need to be able to pull this off so that I continuously get in people's faces? Because without you doing that, the other alternative is you're going to need to pay someone, which money in many scenarios you might not have. So the third option organically that worked, at least after me testing over 40 alternatives, is SEO. SEO is great. Its only problem is it takes a bit of time to mature. SEO, for those that don't know, it's when people go to Google and they are looking, say, for laptops, anything, any search phrase. I'm looking for a laptop in Kenya, and your company shows up first among the first results of here is where you can get a laptop from. Or I'm looking for a CRM software in Zimbabwe, and you search that, and the first result you see is Monkey Press at the top. So you go ahead and get a website and write articles, blog posts on those articles, then rank those blog articles either on Google or Bing, any of the other search engines. So yes, if you can write a large enough number of articles, say a week, do five every week, do 5 or so. With time, you're going to begin getting on top of Google. And the beauty about Google is not like other platforms. It's not like TikTok or Facebook. When someone goes to Google and they say, I am looking for this, in most scenarios, it's intent-based, meaning they are looking for a solution to something. I don't go to Google to browse around. I don't go to Google to just discover things. I only go there when I need a solution. I'm looking for a laptop, or I need a CRM software, or I need a marketing software. So why it's important to rank in Google is because the higher you rank, you tend to get high quality leads. You tend to get very high quality leads. Whoever comes in on grounds of Google comes in when they already have intent. That's why it's important as a brand to also begin positioning yourself out there. Now, from where I am, many people think that SEO is a component of tech, but it's not a tech component. It's an actual marketing product, meaning all the tech person does is put the site to life, but everything that happens after that, it's your marketing team that is supposed to drive and understand what content are we writing about and how does it make sense and fit into our plan. So the fourth way, which is also quite effective, people underestimate this, but it's really, 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 really powerful. Getting into groups, meaning groups on Facebook, groups on LinkedIn, groups on Reddit, groups on WhatsApp. It has honestly been proven as a powerful way of getting leads. As an example, if you're to go to Reddit, they are what they call subreddits. A subreddit of, say, 100,000 people that are interested in sales. The moment I share anything there, I'm finding a like-minded group of people who are interested in one thing and one thing alone. So meaning the likelihood of people responding to me putting something there is also powerful. So yes, when it comes to organic inbound, those are the 4 best categories. Yes, there are a couple of other things here and there, but they don't seem to be as powerful when it comes to the African region. I would say things like Quora. Yes, once in a while you'll get little traffic, but for you to create a sustainable mode and sustainable traffic from search gets increasingly difficult, especially if you're selling to the African region. So now that, of course, organic is done, Before I proceed, don't forget you can leave me a question, any query here. I will be able to respond to that. But in my next segment, I'm just going to be handling what does the paid side of things look like. I want leads and I want leads to come to me. How exactly am I going to use paid advertising to attract these leads to come into me? Okay. So yes, under paid, there are quite a number of paid channels, but the ones that work best for our African region are also four. Number one, there is Google Ads. The way Google Ads works is you literally go to Google and publish an ad. You use the URL ads.google.com and you're able to publish your site and what you're selling. And every time someone searches for something, there are usually some sponsored results at the top. At the top, that is where Google Ads come in handy. They are good for if you have tech products, if you have a service that people consume online and it's quite direct. That's when it would be ideal for you to use Google Ads. The second type of ads is Facebook ads. Now Facebook ads encompasses both Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp as well. WhatsApp ads. So it's usually good when you're selling products. The thing about these ads, however, what you need to understand is it's quite simple. The thing you need to know is you need to understand how ads actually work. Don't make this mistake of just going and seeing that button boost now and clicking boost now and select country and edge, and you're going to fail the system and it's not going to deliver for you results for a month simply because you have not directed the system on who is your ideal. Literally break down that segment to the dot, help the algorithm itself understand who is your possible customer. As an example, if you even have some existing customers and you have their emails and their phone numbers, you could even upload them to Facebook or Google and help them understand that, you know what, here is a list of the people who have bought from me before. Now, when you're serving my ads, serve them to people who are similar to this. Why most people are struggling is because, number one, they run ads for such a short time. And number two, they haven't helped Facebook understand who their ideal customer is. And because of how short it is, Facebook also is just trying to figure out who should I be serving these ads to, who will convert much better. And in so doing, number one, you haven't given the algorithm enough time to discover your ideal customer profile, and you also haven't helped it identify who this ICP is. The two combined just means in the short run, you may not get the results that you want. Then in your head, you'll begin getting the illusion that Facebook ads don't work. Yet, to be honest, the moment you help them identify that, you know what, these are the people who have DM'd me, please serve my ads to people who are similar to these people. And these are people who have bought from me. These are their phone numbers. These are their emails. The results from just doing that will be 10 times much better than what you do by just forcing the algorithm to try and figure it out for you. So yes, that's a second channel, which is Facebook ads. The third channel under the paid advertising is what they call LinkedIn ads. Now, these LinkedIn ads are very good when you're selling B2B. Why are they the best? Is because people already have data of, you know what, this is a company I work for, this is how long I've been there, here is my network. So when you're running these ads, you have the capability of choosing that, you know what, I want you to show my ads to only people who are in the construction space. These are the people I'm targeting. Even in that construction space, I only want the CEO, the CFO, or whoever you want. Because of that specificity, people who are selling to B2B organizations tend to love these LinkedIn ads. They're quite powerful, but what you need to understand is they're a bit expensive. Actually, in terms of ranking, Facebook ads tend to be the cheapest, followed by Google, then LinkedIn is honestly expensive. But in terms of conversion, yes, you're going to get fewer people coming to you, but of the fewer people that have come, if say you run a leads ad, they tend to convert much better than any other platform, which is why I would recommend LinkedIn ads personally. And the fourth channel, which is the final, is their traditional TV, their traditional radio ads, their traditional billboard ads. The thing about those, however, is they tend to be a bit pricey. I mean, just a normal TV ad, to run a TV ad for a couple of seconds is going to cost you a couple of thousands of dollars. Now, if you have to do it across the month, it will get extremely expensive. So if you're a mid-sized company or a startup, I would recommend you first explore these other channels first before coming back and beginning to test out the TV, the radio ads, and the billboard ads, because they tend to be a lot more expensive upfront than the online ads. So yes, in a nutshell, those are the paid avenues. And don't forget, in case you have any questions for me, I'm available to respond. I can simply jump on and be able to respond to any of the queries that you have, so that even as we speak, at least we're advancing on the same page. All right. So the next thing we're talking about is outbound. Now, after yes, these leads have been gotten, the next step entails, how does my sales team now convert? People sometimes think that when they invest in ads, their job is done, that people are going to come and just pay them money. But no, that is not the truth. What happens most of the time is, yes, you have paid money to bring people, but now these people have come, you still need to pitch to them, you still need to sell to them, you still need to convert. And so people tend to only invest in the other bit, and they forget that at the end of the day, you still need to call and say, you know what, yes, this is what we sell, here is how much it costs, this is why it's valuable to you. And this outbound and literally entails, what is your team going to do in order to convert people? Under this section, the first thing you need to understand is you also need to help your team understand how many sales they need to be making. And you need to get your team to understand that, yes, marketing might put in some effort, but so for example, a day you need to make 30 phone calls. Of those 30 phone calls, marketing may bring you 15. The other 15 you may need to go and hunt and talk to people. And so step number one, get them to understand, as a default, what does success mean? Success means you've made 30 phone calls a day. Of these 30 phone calls a day, even if you convert 10, 20%, it is okay. Even if you get meetings of 20 to 30%, it is fine. Get to first understand, what does success mean when it comes to outbound. Step number two, you need to help your team understand how to prospect. People have a tendency of doing this one thing. They hire sales reps and they tell them that, now since we've hired you, I'm sure you know how to sell, so get started. Usually that ends up setting your team up for failure, because number one, where are they going to get the leads? Their network is extremely small, that if you don't guide them on how exactly to do and go and get these people, sometimes 3 months down the road, most of the time you're going to need to switch your sales team because of failure to succeed, and the process happens over and over again. So as a standard, as a company, it's important you come up with your own sales structure. And just to give you context, for us specifically, we use LinkedIn a lot. We use the LinkedIn sales navigator and the LinkedIn. So what happens is, inside LinkedIn, we literally show each and every one of the sales reps that, you know what, when you go to LinkedIn, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look for sales managers. Put it in the search parameter, search for sales managers. Of these sales managers, use these filters and segment that, you know what, I'm looking for sales managers in Kampala, sales managers in Wakiso, sales managers in Nairobi, sales managers in Dar es Salaam, and it's going to bring you a list of all these people. So why is it important for you to set that structure up? Is it creates continuity. In most scenarios, yes, you'll bring people, but their network is really small. But if you give them LinkedIn, for example, as a tool and show them how to use it, it means they're going to get an unlimited number of people they can talk to. In other scenarios, we use like our very own prospecting tool, and this prospecting tool just gives a ton of contacts across Africa of people you can possibly talk to. So that is another way. Like the point I'm trying to relay is, as a company, it's important for the company itself to have its own structure of how exactly does the company go about selling and prospecting, and set that as a standard, document it so that every new rep that comes, you've given them a bit of a starting point and guiding them on what exactly to do. And step number 3 is you even need to help your sales reps with their sales pitches. Get some time and teach them, because it looks obvious, but it's never as obvious as people think it is. It's important that you can pick up that phone and properly articulate, what does your company do? Why is it valuable? What problem are you trying to address? How are you going to do that over and over again? Otherwise, if you don't refine it and practice it, it's going to be extremely hard for you to make 30 phone calls a day. Whereas if you understand how to pick up that phone and call and be articulating it because you've rehearsed it enough, 30 calls could literally go in less than an hour and you're done with all the 30 phone calls. Whereas someone that doesn't know, they're going to have such a hard time making that phone call. And why many of our Ugandan and Kenyan and Tanzanian businesses tend to struggle is because they just imagine that now they have recruited you, you know everything, and they don't relay this guidance, which is subjecting them to a lot of poor quality stuff and a lot of failure when it comes to sales at the end of the day. So yeah, if you need help in regards with at least setting up some of these sales processes, the good thing is you have access to me on TikTok, you have access to me on YouTube, you have access to me on LinkedIn and all the social channels. So you can comfortably just feel free to drop me a message and I'll be in position to jump in and help your team set that up. Now, another thing you need to understand is when it comes to sales, follow-up is king. In very many scenarios, you're going to have many people who are coming and saying, you know what, I'm actually interested in what you're doing. Then they say, but you know what, I haven't yet talked to my boss or the finance person to validate if they're funds. Give me a call in 2 weeks. After those 2 weeks, he might say, oh, sorry, I had forgotten, but let me contact him, call me again in another week. So they're always going to lead you towards some kind of follow-up. Now, if you do not have a system in place that is going to help you keep track of, yes, I have 100 leads, I've talked to 30 people. What did customer number 1 say? What did customer number 6 say? What did customer number 38 say? And when do I need to take my next action? It's going to be impossible for you to manage sales at scale. Every company that thrives out there, every company that is able to make hundreds of sales is talking to thousands of people a month. Now, if you lie to yourself that I'm going to be able to coordinate 500 contacts without a CRM software, it's going to be an impossible task for you. Like I said, there's too much action that happens within the sales process. From issuing of the invoices, how long are these invoices taking? Who am I talking to? What's my next call to action? What's my next meeting? That you need a system that is going to help you just track and validate the effectiveness of what exactly is going down. So I would recommend you actually just use the Monkeypesa CRM. It's affordable. We're even putting together a free package whereby you can get started for free for a limited, of course, set of contacts and a limited number of automations. Now, as part of the follow-up process, we even built what they call the Monkeypesa marketing automation feature, which you kind of just help it understand what is your sales cycle like, and it will keep nudging you and sending you messages that, you know what, for this other customer number 6 that you contacted 2 weeks ago, it might be time for you to check up on them. So implement such tools within your businesses, because to manage scale, it's impossible to do it with your head. There's a reason that every large company out there has a system implemented just to track the effectiveness of sales, marketing, and customer support. Don't think that for them they are silly to do so, or for you you're too brilliant, everything can be managed in your head. You will literally subject your team for failure. Not everyone might be as brilliant as you, and as you begin to talk to different individuals, as you begin to relay with, get a team in place, you might also need to track the effectiveness of how are they performing, what exactly are they doing. And if you do that, if you don't do it effectively, it means your team will fail to do their job simply because you haven't given them the tool that they need. Just look at it as saying, yes, I'm hiring an accountant, but I'm not going to give them the software that they need to do their job, which is the QuickBooks or Tally or any of those accounting softwares. You would have hired them, but only given them half of the tools. So by so doing, they will fail to do their job, and you can't complain that I didn't give them the tools. So understand that in follow-up, that is where most sales fail. But why it fails is because people do not have systems in place to keep reminding them of what they need to pursue and who they need to be talking to and what. It's very easy for one of your customers to tell you, give me a call next month on 26th. And 26th reaches and you've forgotten you have other work that is pushing you. But if you had a system that is going to nudge you and send you SMSs and send you emails to try and remind you, do you know what, you are supposed to call so and so today, it will literally jot something in your mind and you will now go ahead and make the phone calls. So yes, I can't stress this enough. Follow-up is king. The normal sales cycle, at least for B2B, has at least 8 follow-ups. Now to do 8 follow-ups for 100, 200 people a month just to get 30, 40 sales is going to be an impossible task without a CRM software. So yes, I can't stress that enough. And most importantly, you would also need to look into the analytics to understand what is working, of the channels that we are advertising in, how is it performing, of the leads that are coming on in each channel, how many of them are converting. As an example, if you're running social content on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and all these channels, you're going to get leads from each of those channels. You may need to understand of the leads that are coming from LinkedIn, how many of them have finally eventually converted and how much revenue are we making from them. And this goes back to the same thing I said earlier. These analytics are only made available in CRM tools like the MonkeyPesa CRM. And yeah, in a nutshell, that is the process that you need to go through in order to make the 5 exercises. Just to help you reiterate, step number 1 is first understand the math. Say you're getting 10 sales. To get 10 sales, you need about 50 leads. Now, if you needed to move that number from 10 to 50, it means you need to increase the number of leads you're getting. But get to understand that number so that you know what, I need 200 leads. Then step number 2, we talked about how to get these leads. If to get 500 leads, you might need to do a combination of some organic channels and some paid channels. Under the organic, we talked about how you can use webinars, but just increase the volume of webinars you're doing. If you can do content, but increase the volume. Don't post once, twice a week. Literally go 4, 5 times a day. And it's going to naturally increase the number of leads that you're getting in. In the paid, we talked about Google ads and Facebook ads and LinkedIn ads as a good starting point. The beauty about these platforms, they even have the alternative of, you know what, you will pay after we have brought you the lead. Meaning, if you want 10 leads a day, pay them their money for the 10 leads and they bring 10 leads. But what you need to understand, of these 10, we're not going to convert all the 10. But if we get 3 and each of the 3 is paying us, say, $100, that is still good enough to cover the cost of the ads and at the same time keep us running on our side. So feel free to reach out to me just to help guide you on how those ads can work. We talked about after you have put in place these things that are going to drive the leads to you, they still need to be converted. At the core of conversion, understand how to prospect, understand that you need a CRM to help you follow up, and ultimately to help you track the analytics. And that is how you can comfortably drive your team towards getting to a point where you're 5xing your sales within the next 3 months. Literally, honestly, just stems from number 1, understanding what needs to be done. Number 2, just implementing a few things inside the inbound and the outbound, and the results will begin pouring in. So yes, in a nutshell, that is all I had today. I'm just going to give it a few more minutes so that if you have any questions, you can as well post those, and from there I will let you go. But that's it from me today, folks. Let me await any questions here. And your message. Okay. I can't seem to have any messages coming in. Yes, I've seen one right here. Okay, now this is a direct message. See any comments? Okay, so for now, I'm going off. I'm stopping the live for the webinar.